My name is Yaler, and my colleague MX is here today. We're super excited to be here in Mexico, presenting and talking about our project, Giveth. Giveth, to talk about what Giveth is, I have to talk about what Giveth isn't. So first of all, Giveth is not a business, it's not a foundation. We are 100% on the blockchain. Now, what that means is we have no legal entity. Our community is decentralized in the sense that we are located all around the world, and that all of our work happens in chat rooms online. The profit that Giveth is really truly looking for, it can't be quantified in dollars, Bitcoin, or Ether. The only way it can truly be measured is by the lives we change and the communities we bring together through the tools that we produce. Blockchain-based entities are a revolution, and revolutions are never simple. Now, decentralized revolutions are another beast entirely. They require handbooks, hand-holding, and lots of research. So when we began this project, the charity space seemed ripe for disruption. There were stories of bloated budgets, there was mishandling of funds. We were hearing constantly of the things that were happening in the charity space. So we decided to build a low-risk environment where we could test our smart contracts simultaneously while making the world a better place. As we continued building tools and using them, our community started to grow. We started attracting members from the charity space as well as blockchain. And more, we became focused on blockchain for good, which is about building communities around altruistic causes. This is how we became the first decentralized altruistic community, or DAC. Now, to understand a DAC, you have to understand a DAO, a DAO. And a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. Now, as of now, we are a DAC working towards becoming a DAO. So, just to get that clear. What our mission is to decentralize charity. We want to build the future of giving on the Giveth platform. The idea is to build decentralized altruistic communities around causes, and then have a never-ending fundraiser for those causes. But there's no profit models, there is no business structure. It's about sharing crypto within communities and helping the world in some small and specific way. It's not about creating money out of nothing and then selling it on the open market, which is cool, but it's not necessarily a part of blockchain for good. How we do that? We have the decentralized application that we call our donation application. From one perspective, it might look simply like a crypto version of GoFundMe, but that's really not the big picture. Now I'm going to read you a story, and this story is going to help you see how the Giveth app could work in Mexico City and provide transparent donation tracking for a DApp that would work in the real world. Meet Rosa. Rosa is a crusader here in the Mexico City community. She volunteers with local agencies and foreign aid to help during times of crisis, like fires, drought, or earthquake. She usually joins an outside organization to assist in their efforts, but she's always felt that it was ineffective. She personally felt like there had to be a better way of organizing the distribution of funds, but she never knew how to go about it. Fast forward to today. Rosa happened to have a son who recommended she make an early investment into Ethereum. Well, her little investment just landed her an amazing profit, so she wants to do something good with her money. But she doesn't really just want to turn the ETH into pesos and then hand it over to a charity, hoping that they will do something good with it. She knows that these organizations are trying, but they often have little oversight and suffer from mismanagement of funds. She wants to be more involved with where the money goes, and she wants to avoid any chance the funds will be misused. She looks up alternative options to traditional fundraising and finds Giveth. Well, Giveth is a great platform for her because she has ETH to contribute and she has a cause to fund. She decides to build her own community that will support Mexico City during times of crisis. She goes to our DApp's webpage, she answers a few questions, and boom, in just a few minutes, she has built the Emergency Mexico DAC, or MDAC. The MDAC is a fully functional, blockchain-based nonprofit community with a transparent accounting system and an online chat room called Riot built in. They can receive funds from anywhere in the world and allocate them directly to funding emergency situations, from earthquake cleanup to restoring polluted waterways. The idea is that the community decides what initiatives they want to fund. They vote with their time, energy, and funds. Rosa seeds the MDAC with her own funds, enough to keep this project funded for at least a few years. She browses our website's page to see if there's any other inspiring DACs, hoping that her community will grow. The community does grow. People from all over the world begin donating ETH to her project. They see that this is a powerful project that's helping people in the Mexico City community. All the donors will be connected to Rosa on Riot, and she will act as their delegate for this DAC. When she finds a campaign to support, the givers will be notified that Rosa is sending their donation to that campaign, and the givers will be connected to the people who are running the campaign. And if they don't like where their funds are being spent, they can recall them whenever they like, up until the point the funds are spent. They can veto her decision because she, as the delegate of the DAC, is just stewarding the funds. Ultimately, the original giver maintains complete control of their funds until it's locked into a campaign or a milestone to be used for a specific purpose. Community members begin joining, as well as offering resources like training, volunteer, access to safe locations, and medical supplies. As Rosa's DAC grows and begins to raise funds, more people step up as leaders in the community. Rosa wants to appoint these leaders as delegates as well, so she implements Aragon's simple multi-delegate governance model to the MDAC. Now, givers are randomly assigned a delegate for every donation, and if the MDAC continues to grow, they can implement a liquid democracy module to handle more delegates and organize more effectively. Many respectable projects start creating campaigns asking for the support of MDAC. A few people from the community are adamant that a major cause of some of these disasters, such as brush fire, water poisoning, stem from pollution and mismanagement of trash. So they agree to create a new campaign to protect and prevent in Mexico City. Rosa steps up to be a reviewer of the campaign, and with her reputation and oversight from the MDAC, they raise 4 ETH immediately. This will be enough to keep the project funded for a few months and help turn these polluted areas into community gardens. Well, the community members do a great job organizing neighborhood cleanups. They clean up many littered areas in the first few weeks. Sadly, before the end of the month, the police come. They shut down the volunteers, saying you need to have a permit to build these gardens. Well, the community needs to find another way of going about cleaning up these areas. But in the meantime, the funds need to go back to the donors. Well, 1 ETH was already collected, so they have 3 ETH left. Well, the 3 ETH are able to go automatically back to the givers to support other projects, when Rosa, acting as the reviewer, cancels the failed campaign. This is the beauty of liquid pledging. All along the path of a campaign, the giver can choose to return their funds. They can delegate them to another campaign or to another representative. The decision-making never leaves the hands of the person who is making the contribution, and funds are never at risk of being wasted, lost, or misused. Despite the community garden campaign being short-lived, it really impacted some people's lives. One man named Jose Luis was able to clean up abandoned lots next to a local waterway, Jose has always been very adamant in the Riot chat rooms that rivers and streams need to be cared for and protected. With other members in the community, Jose writes a roadmap with clear milestones and is able to raise a fair amount of money to fund the campaign. Well, all the volunteers that contribute to helping Jose track and document polluted waterways are given a full-time salary. He finds enough funds to hire 3 people to work to create pollution solutions. Jose's research proves fruitful, and a surprisingly large number of other aid and environmental agencies are able to take impactful steps to cleaning up local waterways in their region. Well, the good word about Jose's project spreads, because obviously Rosa's DAC isn't the only one on Giveth concerned with cleaning waterways. This is how communities are built. The magic really shines when the communities closest to the issues are able to face them. They come together to pool resources, and what we do is allow the tools of blockchain to smooth that process. In fact, one of the delegates in the LATAM Clean Water DAC was connected with Jose when they sent some delegated funds to his campaign. They asked Jose to contribute to a study and document the lessons he learned during his work. They create a handbook that turns into a one-day online course that anyone can take. With these supporting structures in place, it becomes a very common campaign with conservation all around the world. This idea inspires other DACs with completely different goals to try a similar concept. The picking up litter DAC, the rescuing feral pet stack, helping the elderly DAC, teaching kids to code DAC, all had quick success with a modification of Jose's strategy. It turns out that paying people a fair wage to work together, solving problems, is a very effective and relatively cheap way of providing solutions. Giver retention is high, and many people, like Jose, can quit their jobs full-time to work on their cause. A simple idea which started in Mexico City took off and spread throughout the DAC community like wildfire, helping altruistic communities tackle various problems around the world. This is the dream of the Giveth DAC. To be a platform where everyone who wants to make the world a better place can come together, connect with other people who share their values, collaborate with each other to make a real impact, and share resources transparently. Because successful ideas are able to spread virally among communities who are sharing similar values. We are building communities around causes, and ADAPT is our technical solution to enable the givers within a community that have money and want to see change coordinate with the makers, the people who have the time and the energy to make the change happen. But within the Giveth DAP, we can connect the givers directly to the makers and produce more DACs so that DACs collaborate and share the lessons that they learn. This will support the spread of viral ideas, as illustrated in Rosa and Jose's story. The DAP facilitates this in many ways. One of the ways this process is possible is to give people the tools they need to feel secure, as well as knowing where their funds are being spent. We don't think about it, but Uber and Airbnb, the secret sauce behind these companies is that they're providing financial transparency between two parties that are connecting. When you get into an Uber, you don't have to have that awkward conversation about how much money you're going to give the driver. You can just enjoy the person-to-person connection. Our DAP provides this service in the same way, but for free, because we never take a cut of these transactions. Our DAC is built on the following principles. We built the DApp to organize our DAC, first of all, and this enables transparent donation tracking. But the DApp is an incredibly flexible and extensible tool. It's for any type of organization that's running on the blockchain. We focus on building our culture around our code, and all of that happens in the community. Our DAC is built on the following principles. We believe in the power of people to self-govern for the interest of the community. We support the spread of blockchain and smart contract technology because they have the power to make huge changes in people's lives in more than just the charitable donation area. We also believe that people are more important than profits. In the Giveth community, we use circles to organize our projects. The circles are called DApp development, governance, communication, and social coding. So let's talk about what happens inside those circles. First is the DApp circle. It's the platform we use to pay ourselves, as well as reward all of our contributors for their good work. We have created some really cool smart contracts as well, like the Vault, Liquid Pledging, and Milestone Tracker. These all help to encourage transparent donation tracking and build trust between donors and doers. We also have a video wall of fame where we encourage contributors to submit videos of what they've been up to and what they've been doing so that donors can see where their funds are being spent. Next is governance. This circle is responsible for keeping things organized. They coordinate with all the admins in our circles, do research on blockchain governance, and modeling DACs. We lean on the teachings of holacracy, which promotes a flat hierarchy. There is no managers, no assignments, no timesheets. We give people the trust to determine how to manage their own workload because we empower people to set their own work pace. Everyone inside Giveth is a doer, and doers don't need managers. Next is our communication circle. Now, this is where we spend a lot of time talking, creating content, and doing documentation. This circle is a special example for me because this is where I started. When I entered the blockchain world, I was not a developer or even familiar with how to read code. And that's still mostly the case today. But I started asking questions. I started to poke around in the rooms and see what the projects were doing. And I found a place for myself to manage projects, to communicate with people, to do copywriting and content. And this is kind of how communities are built. People join, they find a place where they're useful, and they just keep contributing. This is how it happens with a lot of people at Giveth. They start doing something, writing, coding, and they really just never stop. Last is our social coding circle. This circle is growing really fast. We have a bunch of amazing open source blockchain projects. The thing about these projects is they have no direct profit model, most of them. And they're not all altruistic, but they're all good for the community, which means they're focused on blockchain for good. Everything is registered on the blockchain. The benefits of this are transparency, donation through our donation tracking. When you get transparency, you get accountability. When you can see what happens with your money, you can hold people accountable. There's no more questions about where your donations were spent, and we really believe this restores trust between doers and donors. Next is decentralization, which leads to transparency. When everything is open sourced and decision making is not concentrated at the top, we are more effective and better able to make decisions because we don't have to run up and down a chain of command. We're fast and effective because everyone is empowered. Next, I'm going to have MX come up and speak about the Ethereum blockchain.
Hello. We chose to develop on the Ethereum blockchain because of its transparency, its smart contracts, and the ability to rapidly adapt to hardships. Smart contracts to me are why Ethereum stands out from other blockchains like Bitcoin or Ripple or any of the other blockchain technologies because of these abilities. And through smart contracts, Giveth is able to help make the donation process more transparent for the entire world, which is something that I think that we need because who knows where money really goes when you give it to someone that's a nonprofit organization. And so what you're seeing here on the slide is a smart contract. This is only a small part of it, but this is from our liquid pledging smart contract, which Yaler explained earlier. And smart contracts are written in a programming language called Solidity, and that complements JavaScript very well, and it gives you the ability to rapidly prototype new technologies, such as websites that use blockchain to do things like Giveth or CryptoKitties or any other ICO or project that's going on in the space. And this is really awesome for us because it allows us to change with the times when we have a hardship, such as in December when the CryptoKitties, which were awesome, kind of ruined our network here because they had way too many transactions for the network to handle. And this caused everybody hardships, and we all had to find solutions to figure this out. So now we have a solution of our bridge to a test network, but it still calls back to the main network so that we can interact with the minimal most amount of transactions on the main network so that we don't get slowed down by having some popular app like CryptoKitties or hopefully Dopamine when that starts up to get our DApp working for people. And so now with that, we really look forward to moving forward with it and getting a better solution than our really, really terrible bridge. That works for us, but not for everyone just yet. But this is something that we're really passionate about. I guess that is the end of my speech this year. So I'm going to welcome Yaler back up here, and he's going to finish out for me.
Thank you guys, thank you MX. We really appreciate being able to be here today and give this presentation to you. The key that we want to leave you with is that our community is open source. Anyone can come, anyone can join. You can jump into our Riot rooms, you can jump into our GitHub and start working on issues. We have a lot of Spanish speakers in our community, and we're fully decentralized, so you can work from wherever you are. We have bounties, we have tools and education, and we really just want to start spreading this blockchain revolution. And we are here to be a resource for you because we believe that Giveth is spreading technology because it's not about ICOs, it's not about pump and dumps. It's an incredibly powerful tool for making the world a better place. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Diego, Emer.